Hi, welcome to Sociological Lens. I am Dr. Dilsora Fozilova. And in today's social inequality class, we will be focusing on the roots of nutritional inequality. So, what is nutritional inequality? Nutritional inequality refers to the unequal access to adequate, nutritious food due to economic, social, and political disparities. One of the primary causes is poverty, as low income households often struggle to afford fresh, healthy foods and rely on cheaper, processed alternatives that are high in sugar, fats, and preservatives. This issue can be increased by food deserts, the areas where supermarkets offering fresh produce are scarce or not enough, and food swamps where unhealthy food or fast food production options dominate in society. Government policies in corporate food industries also contribute to the problem by subsidizing processed food production over fresh, whole foods, making healthy options more expensive and less accessible. Social and cultural factors further deepen nutritional inequality. Many low income communities lack education on nutrition, leading to poor dietary choices, while time constraints in working class households encourage dependency on convenient prepackaged meals. People working for longer hours for very small amount of money, they get home late, maybe tired, and they highly rely on fast food or prepackaged foods. Additionally, the globalization of food markets has led to the replacement of traditional diets with Western style processed food, increasing rates of diet related illnesses such as obesity and diabetes. So there are also political and other factors as well. Political and structural factors play a significant role in reinforcing nutritional disparities. Agricultural policies often favor large agribusinesses, while food assistance programs in some countries are underfunded, limited access to healthy meals for vulnerable populations. In many cases, healthcare disparities make it difficult for lower income individuals to seek preventative care, leading to long term health consequences. Environmental and geographic factors such as climate change and extreme weather also impact food production, driving costs, um, up the costs of nutritional food. Rural communities face additional challenges due to limited transportation and infrastructure, making fresh food harder to access. Addressing nutritional inequality requires systemic changes, including expanding food assistance programs, increasing nutrition education, also supporting local farmers, and implementing policies that regulate the affordability and accessibility of healthy food. Without such interventions, the cycle of poor nutrition, health disparities, and economic hardship will continue to disproportionately affect marginalized communities. So, what is food insecurity? Food insecurity is the condition in which all people at all times have physical, social, and economic access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food that meets their dietary needs and food and also their food preferences for an active and healthy life. The concern the concept of food security is commonly defined by four key pillars, like availability, a sufficient supply of food must be consistently available, whether through local production, imports, or food aids. Access is another one. Individuals must have economic and physical means to obtain nutritious food. Poverty, food prices, and infrastructure influence access to healthy food. Also, utilization. Food must be consumed in a way that provides proper nutrition, which depends on the food preparation, clean water, sanitization, and healthcare systems. Also, stability is the another one. Food security must be maintained over time, meaning communities they should not face disruption due to economic crisis, conflicts, or climate-related events, or climate-related um, the stuff happens. Food insecurity arises when any of these principles or pillars are compromised, leading to often leading to hunger, malnutrition, and negative health outcomes. It is often influenced by factors such as poverty, inequality, political instability, environmental changes, and global food supply chain disruptions. Addressing food security requires a multifaceted approach, including sustainable agriculture, economic policies that reduce poverty, and social safety nets that protect vulnerable populations. Food insecurity, on the other hand, which is totally opposite of food security, it is the lack of consistent access to enough and safe, nutritious, and culturally appropriate food for an active and healthy life. It occurs when individuals or communities experience uncertainty about their ability to get food due to financial, social, or environmental barriers. Food insecurity can be temporary, it can be seasonal, it can be chronic, depending on the severity and duration of these issues. There are different levels of food insecurity. For example, it can be mild food insecurity, worrying about food availability but still having access to some food. It can be moderate food insecurity, that is reduced quality or quantity or variety of food due to financial or physical limitations. Or there can be severe food insecurity, going without food for a day or more due to lack of resources, leading to hunger and malnutrition. Food insecurity is caused by multiple factors, including poverty and unemployment, raising food prices, political instability, climate change, and disruptions in food supply chains. It has serious health and social consequences, increasing risk of malnutrition, chronic diseases, stress, and poor cognitive development, particularly in children or young people. Addressing food insecurity requires political or requires policies that improve economic access to food, straighten local food systems, and provide social safety nets like food assistance programs. So we always go through what main sociological theories say about the concept we're talking about. So let's start with structural functionalism. So structural functionalism views society as a complex system made up of interrelated parts that work together to maintain stability and order. From this perspective, access to nutritious food is seen as a crucial component of the social structure necessary for the overall functioning and stability of society. In functional terms, society needs a functioning food distribution system, such as agricultural production, food markets, and nutrition education, um, to ensure the survival and well-being of individuals. Structural inequalities such as poverty or food deserts may be seen as dysfunctions that disrupt the balance within society. Structural functional scholars may argue that social policies, for example, food assistance programs, public health initiatives, are necessary to ensure equal access to food and address these dysfunctions, ultimately contributing to societal stability and cohesion. Conflict theory, on the other hand, Conflict theory, on the other hand, rooted in the ideas of Karl Marx, and emphasizes the role of power, inequality, and exploitation in shaping social structures. When applied to food access, conflict theorists argue that economic inequalities lead to unequal access to nutritious food. The wealthy and powerful classes control the food systems, from production to distribution, often leading to the exploitation of lower income populations. For example, large agribusinesses and corporations may prioritize profit over public health, making nutritious food more expensive and inaccessible to those with limited financial resources. Conflict theorists would argue or highlight how capitalism um, exacerbates food inequality by prioritizing cheaper processed foods that are unhealthy, while healthier options become more expensive and out of reach for marginalized groups. They may also emphasize the role of politics and policy in maintaining these inequalities, advocating for redistribution of resources and social change to ensure that food access is more equitable. Symbolic interactionism focuses on the everyday interactions and meanings that individuals assign to objects, behaviors, and social practices. From this perspective, access to nutritious food is not just about physical access to food, but also about social meanings attached to food and eating. For example, people's food choices are influenced by cultural norms, social expectations, and personal identities. Nutritional food may be seen as a symbol of status, wealth, or health in some social circles, while processed food may be preserved as convenient or affordable for those with limited time and resources. Symbolic interactionists would examine how social class influenced the meanings people attach to food and socialization processes. For example, family, peer groups, media shape food choices and access to healthy food. They would also focus on the role of social networks such as community support in helping individuals and families access nutritious food. Feminist approach, I thought about for a second before I put that here, and I thought how food is important for women is different from how it is important for men. Feminism critically examines how gender, along with other axes of power like class and race, influences social structures and experiences. Feminist theorists would argue that gendered inequalities significantly impact access to nutritious food, especially for women and children in patriarchal societies. Women are often responsible for cooking and food provisioning, and their ability to provide nutritious food for their families can be influenced by economic inequality and gendered labor divisions. In many societies, women are more likely to experience poverty, which limits their access to healthy food. Feminists would also highlight the disproportionate impact of food insecurity on women or women of color, single mothers, and low income women, as these groups are often marginalized both socially and economically. Additionally, feminist perspective may critique how food systems are structured and how policies and practices often fail to consider the needs and roles of women in ensuring food insecurity for families and communities. Feminists advocate for policy changes that address these inequalities and promote women's empowerment and access to nutritious affordable food. Each of these sociological perspectives highlights different dimensions of how society influences access to nutritious food. Structural functionalism focuses on social stability and the need for balanced food systems. Conflict theory emphasizes economic inequality and power. Symbolic interactionalism looks at the meanings attached to food and in social contexts, and feminism critiques gendered inequality in food access. Understanding food access from these different angles can help eliminate the complex factors contributing to nutritional disparities in society and inform policies aimed at addressing food insecurity and inequality. And what are the present day food inequality issues in Canada? So I have a short video here through YouTube. If you download the PowerPoint, you can watch it from here, or you can search for food insecurity and you will find this by Tune, I think. It is kind of like a crash course, gives you a lot of information and statistics about food insecurity. So, food insecurity in Canada has reached concerning levels with significant disparities across various demographics. In 2023 or 2022, 16.9% of Canadians experienced food insecurity, a notable increase from 12.9% in 2021. So 2022 was harder for Canadians to have the food security. And this varies by demographics. For example, age is one of them matters, gender is another matters. According to Statistics Canada, households led by individuals aged 35 to 44 reported a food insecurity rate of 23%, while those led by seniors aged like 65 and older had a lower rate of 10%. So the seniors have better food security than younger people. And gender also is important matter. Families with female major income earner had a food insecurity rate of 21% compared to 16% for those with male major income earners. So female income earners have more food insecurity than male income earners. Also, there is some regional disparities in Canada. Um, Regional disparities in 2023, over 8.7 million Canadians in the provinces were affected by food insecurity, including 2.1 million children. That is coming from madeincanada.ca. And individuals living in poverty are disproportionately affected with a food insecurity rate of 24% compared to 15% for those not living in poverty. That is the information from Statistics Canada. Also, use of food banks um, differ from one province to another province or one category of population to another category. In March 2024, there were over 2 million visits to food banks in Canada, marking the highest number in history and a 6% increase from 2023. This information is coming from foodbankscanada.ca. You can take a look at foodbankscanada.ca website for more information. These statistics highlight the urgent need for targeted interventions to address food insecurity in Canada, focusing on vulnerable populations and regions most affected. I also put a link here for underestimated poverty in Canada effects on 1 in 4 people. This is a newspaper article. I want you to take a look at it as well. It's from lemonde.fr website. So food insecurity affects people disproportionately. Certain demographic groups with low income individuals and marginalized populations facing the highest rates of food insecurity. For example, low income populations um, are more likely to experience food insecurity. In 2023 or 2022, nearly 34% of individuals living in poverty reported food insecurity, compared to 15% of those not living in poverty. This highlights the strong link between economic hardships and limited access to nutritious food. This information is coming from Statistics Canada. Young people, um, children and youth are particularly vulnerable, with about 2.1 million children affected by food insecurity in 2023. Households with young children have a higher likelihood of experiencing food insecurity due to the financial burden of raising children on limited incomes. And this is from the madeincanada.ca website. Women are also population, that layer of population that are affected with food inequality. Women, especially single mothers, face higher rate of food insecurity, and in 2022, households led by women had a food insecurity rate of 21% compared to 16% households led by men. This information is I introduced earlier as well. This is often due to gender-based inequalities where women earn less on average and often bear the financial responsibility for children. Also, because they are single mothers, sometimes their how much they can work, how many hours they can spend at work is limited because of they have to take care of their children. And seniors also a vulnerable population who are affected by it. But we have to highlight that seniors, according to statistics, have way less food inequality or disparity or the insecurity than other groups like women, young people, and people with disabilities. Seniors, particularly those living alone, face challenges in accessing affordable and nutritious food. While seniors make up a smaller portion of the food insecure population, those affected experience significant health consequences. In 2022, about 10% of seniors experienced food insecurity. And Indigenous people are one of the most vulnerable population in Canada. Indigenous communities experience some of the highest rates of food insecurity, with up to 1 in 3 Indigenous households experiencing food insecurity. This is linked to issues such as remote living conditions, inadequate infrastructure, and the ongoing impacts of colonialism, which have limited access to traditional food sources and healthy food options. And this information is coming from Made in Canada website. People with disabilities are also more likely to experience food insecurity due to combination of factors, including disability related expenses, limited income, and challenges in accessing food stores. This group faces food insecurity rates that are higher than the general population, with some estimates suggesting that 1 in 5 people with disabilities experience food inequality. These statistics underline the intersectionality of food insecurity, where multiple factors such as income, gender, age, and disability status combine to create higher risks for certain groups. Addressing food inequality in Canada requires targeted interventions that consider the unique challenges faced by these populations. So this is a very short video I created for you to watch after your midterm exam this week. So I also have some critical thinking questions for you. I'll read them. How can Canada transition to a more sustainable and equitable food system that ensures long-term access to nutritious food for all citizens? How does stigma around food insecurity affect individuals' willingness to seek support from food banks and assistance programs? What role do government policies such as social assistance programs, minimum wage, and food subsidies play in either reducing or perpetuating food insecurities? After you watching this video, please give me some answers to one of these questions, and also subscribe the channel so you can get more lectures to our related to our courses, so we can keep in touch. Thank you for watching and have a great day. Bye-bye.